Welcome to a 2-minute Parsha commentary video sponsored by MyJewishLearning.com. My name is Menachem Creditor. I'm a rabbi in Berkeley, California, and this Parsha, VaYigash, is one of my favorites for very, very powerful. When there are issues that happen within a family, and if you have a family, there are issues, it is clear that sometimes distance is helpful, and it is also clear that sometimes distance gets in the way. Makes the heart grow fonder, but that doesn't mean that absence is desirable. Isn't it amazing to feel the visceral pull when someone you love is far away? And isn't it also the biggest gift when you reunite? And then, of course, when you are close to each other, you begin to see the things that not only were you missing about each other, but the very real things that are true about everyone. And all of us are human, sometimes very, very good. And in the story in our Torah portion, Joseph, who's been estranged from his brothers who sold him into slavery years and years ago, is reunited with them, but in a different position. As opposed to before, where Joseph is in a very vulnerable position, he's the favored child of their father. And he has this incredibly beautiful coat that his father gives him, this tunic. And he lords it over them, even unconsciously. They despise him in his youth and in his arrogance. He shares them these prophetic dreams that he has. And he doesn't know how to communicate with people. He has this inability to pick up on social cues, and that sets in motion so many different things that lead them to despise him, to sell him into slavery. He then gets sold to Egypt, sold to a rich person whose wife tries to seduce him. He resists. He gets thrown into jail. And because of his power with dreams, and ascends to this position of the second in charge of Egypt. Then, because there's a famine in the land and Joseph is part of distributing the food, the very limited food that there is, his brothers come all the way from their homeland, from Canaan, to beseech him for some food. And he sets them up in this incredibly complicated way to test whether or not they would give up their new youngest brother, Benjamin. And this moment of this parsha is actually typified by the name. It's called VaYigash. VaYigash means, and he came close. This is what I want to say about this week's portion in a way that might be helpful to you and to me, and maybe the Torah has some wisdom to offer on this. The gift of proximity, what Brian Stevenson in a book called Just Mercy calls the power of proximity, is to know that there is someone else besides me, and the only way that I can truly understand them is to come close. Joseph, in order to disguise himself from his brothers when they first reunite, when they don't recognize him, but he recognizes them, he masks himself with the nobility surrounding him. They don't know what he looks like anymore. And he behaves in such a way that they have to reveal themselves, but he never comes close. Eventually, as his brother Judah, who was not kind, to say the least, when they were younger, he comes close and he makes the most beautiful plea to protect his youngest brother, saying, "You don't understand how hard this has been on our father, on our family. We lost our youngest. We can't lose our youngest again." And when he comes close, Joseph, the text says, cannot contain himself anymore. Judah coming close, not encroaching on his space, but being intimate, breaks down all of those childhood trauma barriers just for. And Joseph himself calls his brothers with a word. VaYigash is the word, and Judah came close. Gshu na elai, come close to me, please, is what Joseph says to his brothers. And he breaks down crying, and all of them are astounded. But what I want to say, this is enough of a blessing. It would change the whole world if we could hold on to this truth. What would happen if the people with whom we disagree, the people with whom we are far away, either geographically, emotionally, spiritually, ethnically, nationally, what if we took the time to set down our old wounds and judge each other? What would happen then? Maybe we would do a lot of crying like Joseph and his brothers did. Maybe we would make mistakes in the future like Joseph and his brothers did. But maybe for the moment, we could love each other. We could forgive ourselves and we could forgive each other. We could move forward into a world where the dreams and the power that they bring into our lives are ones we share with love and gentleness. Maybe if we became to each other. Maybe if we allowed the power of proximity to touch our souls, we could actually enter a promised land that was bigger than one border. We could find that the whole world is our promised land and there is enough to share. It will take a lot of crying to get there. But if we listen closely to this parsha, the bravery of Judah when he came close to the authenticity, when he took off all of his masks and invited his brothers to come close again, maybe we can learn some kindness once more. Shabbat Shalom.